Hi guys, welcome to my new video, Hypothesis. First of all, we will discuss what is the actually hypothesis. A hypothesis is a prediction of what will be found at the outcome of a research project and typically focused on the relationship between two different variables studied in the research. It is usually based on both theoretical expectation about how things work and already existing scientific evidence. The research hypothesis is a predictive statement that relates an independent variables to the dependent variables. Predictive statements which are not to be objectively verified or the relationship that are assumed but not to be tested are not termed research hypotheses. Now we will discuss some definition about hypothesis. First of all, P.V. Young, the idea of a temporary but central importance that becomes the basis of useful research is called a working hypothesis. Lundberg, a hypothesis is a tentative generalization is validity of which remains to be tested. In its most elementary stages, the hypothesis may be any hunch, guess, imaginative idea, or intuition whatsoever which becomes the basis of action of investigation. Next, good and hard. It is proposition which can be put to test to determine validity. Now, we will discuss the types of hypothesis. First of all, explanatory hypothesis. The purpose of the hypothesis is to explain a certain fact. All hypotheses are in a way explanatory, for a hypothesis is advanced only when we try to explain the observed fact. A large number of hypotheses are advanced to explain the individual facts in life. A theft, a murder, an incident are examples. Next is descriptive hypothesis. Sometimes a researcher comes across a complex phenomenon. He or she does not understand the relation among the observed facts. But how to account for these facts? The answer is a descriptive hypothesis. A hypothesis is descriptive when it is based upon the points of resemblance of something. It describes the cause and effect relationship of a phenomenon, that is, the current employment rates of a state exceeds 25% of the workforce. Similarly, the consumers of local made products constitute a significant market segment. Next is analogical hypothesis. When we formulate a hypothesis on the basis of similarities, it is called analogical hypothesis. That is, families with higher earning invest more surplus income on long-term investments. Next is working hypothesis. Sometimes certain facts cannot be explained adequately by existing hypotheses and no new hypothesis comes up. Thus, the investigation is held up. In this situation, a researcher formulates a hypothesis which enables to continue investigation. Such a hypothesis, though inadequate and formulated for the purpose of further investigation only, is called a working hypothesis. It is simply accepted as a starting point in the process of investigation. Next is null hypothesis. It is an important concept that is used widely in the sampling theory. It forms the basis of many tests of significance. Under this type, the hypothesis is stated negatively. It is null because it may be nullified if the evidence of random sample in is unfavorable to hypothesis. It is a hypothesis being tested if the calculated value of the test is less than the permissible value. Null hypothesis is accepted. Otherwise, it is rejected. The rejection of null hypothesis implies that the difference could not have arisen due to chance of sampling fluctuation. Now, role of the hypothesis. First, it is an operating tool of theory. It can be deduced from other hypotheses and theories. If it is correctly drawn and scientifically formulated, it enables the researcher to produce or correct line of study. Due to this progress, the investigator becomes capable of drawing proper conclusions. In the word of Budenhardt, without hypothesis, the research is unfocused, a random empirical wandering. The result cannot be studied as fact with clear meaning. Hypothesis is a necessary link between theory and investigation which leads to discovery and addition to knowledge. Secondly, the hypothesis acts as a pointer of inquiry. Scientific research has to proceed in certain definite lines, and through hypothesis the researcher becomes capable of knowing specifically what he has to find out by determining the direction provided by the hypothesis. Hypothesis acts like a pole star or a compass to a sailor, or with the help of which he is able to head in the proper direction. Thirdly, the hypothesis enables us to select relevant and irrelevant facts and makes our task easier. Once the direction and the points are identified, the researcher is in position to eliminate the irrelevant facts and concentrate only on the relevant facts. For example, if the researcher is interested in examining the relationship between the broken home and juvenile delinquency, he can easily proceed in the proper direction and collect the relevant information, succeeded only when he has succeeded in the formulating a useful hypothesis. Fourthly, the hypothesis provides the guidance by way of providing the direction pointing to inquiry, enabling to select relevant facts and helping to draw specific conclusions. It saves the researcher from the botheration of trial and error, which causes loss of money, energy, and time. Finally, the hypothesis plays a significant role in facilitating advancement of knowledge beyond one's value and opinion. In real terms, the science is incomplete without hypothesis. Now, we will discuss the stages of hypothesis testing. First of all, experimentation. Research study focuses its study which manageable and approachable to it and where it can test its hypothesis. The study gradually becomes more focused on the variables and influences on the variables so that hypothesis may be tested. In this process, hypothesis can be disproved. Next, Rehearsal testing. The researchers should conduct a pre-testing or rehearsal before going for field work or data collection. Now, next is field research. To test and investigate hypotheses, field work with predetermined research methodology tools is conducted in which interviews, observations with stakeholders, questionnaire surveys, etc. are used to follow. The documentation study may also happen at this stage. Next is primary and secondary data or information analysis. The primary or secondary data and information available prior to hypothesis testing may be used to ascertain validity of hypothesis itself. Now, conclusion. Formulating a hypothesis can take place at the very beginning of a research project or after a bit of research has already been done. Sometimes a researcher knows right from the start which variables he or she is interested in studying, and he or she may already have heard about their relationships. Other times, a researcher may have been interested in a particular topic, trend, or phenomena, but he or she may not know enough about it to identify variables or formulate a hypothesis. Whenever a hypothesis is formulated, the most important thing is to be precise about what one's variables are, what the nature of the relationship between them might be, and how one can go about conducting a study of them. Thank you guys for watching my video. A new video will come very soon.